Well, the Netball World Cup has been a rip-roaring success by all accounts. It's elevated the profile of the sport and given a solid career path to many budding netballers. I'm going to send you live to the Cape Town International Convention Centre, where my colleague Lebogang Dube is standing by with the latest from the tournament. Lebo, tell us, what did you hear from the organisers? They were ringing the praises of Cape Town, but they did admit that there were a few problems along the way.
Thank you very much, Simon, and good evening to the viewers. Yes, earlier in the day, the president of World Netball, Liz Nicole, did hold a press conference just to give an update and just to confirm as well that they were indeed satisfied as World Netball by the organization of the local organizing committee in terms of hosting the Netball World Cup here in Cape Town. They were pleased with how the netball, the tournament went by, and in terms of the organization. However, yes, the issue of ticketing was brought up, and they did explain that there were issues and perhaps they could have done more as well, Netball, to assist the hosting nation in terms of ensuring that the systems are better organized. But again, Simon, it was another fulfilling day, a day where we saw interesting matches, tough matches. The two highlight matches were the semifinals that played earlier on, and as we know now that England will face Australia in the final, while New Zealand and Jamaica will play for the third and fourth spot. And I'm standing by with our analysts just to give us a breakdown of what really transpired today and what we could look forward to tomorrow when the third and fourth playoff matches take place and the final. And I'll start with Dineo. We've seen England, they've gone on with their business as usual, unbeaten. They remain the only unbeaten team in the tournament. Why do you think it is right that they did to ensure that they maintain a good winning streak?
Look, I mean, for the 2019 World Cup, England were defeated by New Zealand in the semi-final. So I think they had a score to settle, and they came back with guns blazing. They knew that they needed to do what was needed to take the win. Aside from that, currently their shooting circle is impeccable, and they have been doing that from beginning. Housby's shooting stats have been outstanding from beginning to end. So I think, if they can maintain its consistency throughout, and I think throughout the tournament, that's what they have been doing. So that's what's got them to where they are right now. So if they maintain the consistency around the defensive, I feel that defense wins games, and the defensive as well, and in turn with their their shooting circle. It's exquisite.
And Kinelo, it is a repeat of a match where we saw England narrowly beat Australia in the earlier matches. It's a repeat again. They go into the final looking to claim the world title. When you look at the two teams, the matchups, where can we see the key matchups?
Well, I think it's definitely going to be a repeat of the Commonwealth Games final, where England ended up winning that Commonwealth gold by 1 goal playing against Australia. So definitely I'm going to give it to Helen Housby, Eleanor Caldwell in the circle with Courtney Bruce. I'm not sure if she's going to put Joa Weston or Sarah Clark. I think they're going to interchange, but I think it's definitely going to be in that shooting circle for England and the defensive circle for Australia, where the action is actually going to happen.
When we look at the previous match in this particular edition of the tournament, where England beat them by just 1 point, where do you think Australia would need to sort of, fix their errors? Which areas of their match do they need to focus on?
Remember, we're talking about the number one team in the world, so I don't think it was so much an error or errors that had the difference. I think clinical changes at the right time put England over the line, and I think bringing Jess Thalby, bringing on Fran Williams in the dying minutes of that game, and she ended up having a deflection and turning the game for England, and I think that was the difference. So I think it's again gone down to a coach's game to see who can make the correct changes at the right time, and if a coach does make those changes, can you as the opposite coach or opposition coach counter that?
And Sandy, just speaking about the repeats, we're also seeing the Proteas playing against Uganda. But another interesting match is that of New Zealand against Jamaica for the third and fourth spot. Many were saying that Jamaica deserved to win the tournament. Up to until the semifinals, they had not lost a match and really putting out a great performance. They beat New Zealand just a day ago. They go into the third and fourth spot. How do you see that one turning out?
Well, we're going to see a repeat, as you mentioned. I believe that Jamaica's not going to let this one go simply or rather easily. I think now Jamaica has a score to settle, and they are not going to walk away from this without a medal. That's what I think Jamaica now is focusing on. I wouldn't say that Jamaica has lost the run, but they definitely have learned a lot, and I can't wait to see them in the next 4 years. The development that they're about to put in play and the hunger that they still have is truly amazing to see.
And when you look at New Zealand, they came, before the South Africa match, they had not lost a match. They drew against the Proteas. They went on to lose against Jamaica, and then they went on to lose again, failing to reach the final. Where do you think it went wrong for New Zealand?
Well, I think they were supposed to have had made crucial swap-ins as well as changes at critical points. There were times where I felt, specifically in the shooting circle, there wasn't a lot of gelling that was taking place. I wish that they would have maybe let Ekonasi sit down for a little bit and maybe put on another goal attack perhaps, or swap them and take the goal shooter and put them in. But there was just so many other areas in which I wish they have taken, or rather the coach had taken a little more chance and not just put the typical or the expected top 7 that they always play with. I don't think New Zealand lacks in anything, but I think that they can always just make more changes and take more risks and see where it takes them.
And just to wrap up, the Proteas against Uganda, another big one. I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot of people coming to support the South Africans. It's that closing match as the host nation. How do you see that one turning out?
Look, we definitely want to win, and if anything, I think the girls have gone back into their little cocoons, had their own little level of introspective session and retrospective sessions within themselves to try and see what they did wrong and fix it in the coming match. I don't think they want to alter their current rankings. If anything, they want to improve it and or maintain it. So considering the fact that last year we came 4th, we'll take 5th place. And yeah, the win has to be ours. But we'll see how it goes. I know Uganda's is not gonna let it go without a fight. They're gonna fight it out. So we'll see.
Simon, indeed, it's going to be a day full of activity, interesting matches from the morning when the Proteas take on Uganda, then followed by those other 2 matches, the third and fourth playoffs, and then the final, the one that is really going to be an interesting one when you look at how the 2 teams have performed in this particular World Cup. And I'm sure as well South Africans will come in numbers to support not only the Proteas, but there's been quite a lot of interest and a lot of people really excited about this particular World Cup.
Lebo Dube, thank you very much for bringing us all the latest from the Netball World Cup. The action still red hot going into the final day. We'll be sure to stay tuned. That was my colleague Lebo Dube bringing us the latest. So those are the fixtures you've got to look out for. South Africa versus Uganda at 11 o'clock. They're playing for 5th place. And then the final, Australia versus England. It's just going to be another incredible day for netball. Celebrate the sport. It deserves its place in the spotlight. That's your sports news for this hour. More to come in the next.